Hello and welcome to Austin Real Estate Experts, where each week we discuss Austin's dynamic real estate market and showcase some of Austin's finest homes. Today we're at Carillon, wonderful D.R. Horton community, just east of Manor, very close to Austin. We kick off our show, we're getting into the fall. Notice I use the word kickoff. It's right around football season. We're in this great setting where we've got some affordable homes, really in reach of everyone. Demetria. So we walked into this model home today and it was just so wide open.
Yes,
and I'm
very
shocked
open concept
that you have new homes in the Austin metro area under 400,000. That's
yes,
crazy.
We do. We start in the high threes out here and we go to the mid fours. We have a range of really wonderful homes, 1 stories and 2 stories. This one happens to be a really nice open concept 1 story, which we really like to, do the one open concept floor plans. And it is 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, and a study. So it does hit a lot of
split floor plan. The owner's suite is off by itself, apart from the other bedrooms, and even 2 of the front bedrooms and 1 of the secondary bedrooms are split too. So lots of privacy, lots of openness to the design elements. Stainless steel appliances included.
A lot of great features, yes.
Granite countertops, tile backsplashes.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful home. It is. And a great community that has great amenities that just kicked off. So they are under construction right now, so should hopefully be done soon. And there'll be trails. And this is only phase 2. Phase 1 we sold out really quickly.
So we have a community pool.
Yes.
A community center.
Park.
I mean, this is the types of amenities that people moving into this community are really after. Mm-hmm. And affordable. The median price is into the mid 500s.
Yes.
And we're talking
well below that.
Yeah. Finishing our offerings in the mid 4s-ish here. Obviously, that may adjust a little bit as the market continues to grow, but still very, very affordable.
Yes, so. And not far from downtown.
No.
Less than 30 minutes.
I've heard a cup of coffee away.
Yes, cup of coffee.
It may depend on the cup size, how fast you drink, how fast traffic's moving, but really we've got great infrastructure out here now.
We do. We have a lot of really great infrastructure.
The expansion of the roads has made it a lot easier to get around, whether you're going to downtown or North Austin, South. I mean, you can really get around quickly from here.
Yes,
sure.
You really can.
I love the fact that you're putting the amenities in early rather than late.
Definitely, yes. Yeah. We found it was a big draw for our homeowners. They really enjoy having an amenity center where they can gather. And
we were talking earlier about what it's like for a first-time buyer to come in and some of the questions that they have. And maybe some of the questions that they ought to ask, but they don't. What do you think are some of the most important questions that prospective home buyers might want to ask, things that they might want to know when they're talking to different home builders?
That's a great question because it can be very intimidating and very overwhelming for a first-time home buyer. And model homes are always very beautiful. We do a great job decorating them, making them look, very comfortable. Yes. So it is difficult for home buyers. And I think one of the biggest things is to find out what is included in the home. Here at D.R. Horton, one thing that we've been very good at is that we put a lot of really wonderful features and they're all standard. So we took out the design process, which has made our homes more affordable, but also well amenitized, as you can see. As you mentioned earlier, we have granite countertops, we have stainless steel appliances. So we really listened to the consumer as to what they really wanted in their homes. And with that being said, it's really nice for a homeowner to come in or a new first-time home buyer to come in and we can say, this home, as you see it, is all included. The only thing they may need to add is maybe a refrigerator, washer, dryer, blinds, garage door opener, but everything else would be included in their home.
So out here you have a number of different home designs. I would imagine 8 or 10 different
floor plan
designs.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple of different color combinations.
Yes, but all very easy to decorate around.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I think some people put too great of emphasis on, because most people absolutely loathe and are filled with anxiety over making the wrong choice, right?
Yes, they
Does
are.
this countertop
Hours and
go
hours
with this
of design.
cabinet and this backsplash? This is such an important decision. Am I doing it wrong? Am I going to make my home ugly? You guys carefully curate the color selections and choices.
Yes.
Your designers
We have
make
great
sure
designers that come up with some really nice interior color packages that people really love. And then they can come in and decorate how they want and add their personal touch to that.
that makes great sense. So one of the things that you talked about in this respect was the included features, and having a good understanding of that. So am I correct in understanding your statement that most of what a homeowner will see and experience here is included?
Yes, correct.
Wow.
Yes.
You know,
And that takes a huge burden off of them, because now they can truly find out what their house payment's going to be. They can kind of look at, because the interest rates are changing so much, the
Right.
price points are changing so much. They have that little bit of comfort when they actually sign that contract, that they know what their sales price is.
this is really important, because one of the things that we like to do as consumers is compare, right?
Right.
And you hear the expression apples to apples. Right. But it's apples to oranges if you walk into a home and everything's included or largely included, except maybe some accessories, right? I think builders are always going to have like blinds and refrigerators as an option, because some people may not want
Those types of things in their home.
touches. And frankly, with supply chain challenges, there's no need to make those included features and potentially prolong a home over a delayed refrigerator, right?
Correct.
But being able to compare, I've walked in model homes of some builders, and what's on their base price and what's modeled, that's like a whole different series of home.
Right.
I mean,
It's
Greg,
a whole different
some of them
payment.
have 20% of the sales price in additional options or more.
Oh yeah, I've seen 25 and 30 sometimes. Yeah, for sure.
So it's crazy. So if someone's out comparing your home to the home of, say, another builder's, and they do that deco format, it's the base price plus you go to the design center and go to the candy store and go spend another 100,000 with us.
And then you have a lot premium on top of that, home site
Yes.
premium.
Yeah.
Yes, it can get quite expensive
Yeah, that's
and make
so-
a big difference in their payment.
So
One more thing that makes it very intimidating to be a first-time home
It
buyer when
does,
you
yeah.
realize there's so many of those issues that are going on.
Yes,
it's
you don't
true.
have to talk them off the ledge after they go to design. They're scared.
So included features versus base price. I mean, that's a big consideration. What are maybe some of the other questions? Maybe something someone doesn't always ask if they're considering a builder. What are some of the differentiating factors that they may not think to ask about?
I would say, obviously community is a big thing, always coming in, and, our sales counselors are very, very well informed of the area. They're very well informed of, obviously the homes and the community. But those are really great questions to, reach out to our salespeople about, what are the schools, what are, some of the places that are close by, what's the infrastructure that's coming, because a lot of them, they're trusted experts for the area that they're in. So they do offer a lot of information that way that can be extremely helpful when people are trying to look for, especially if they're first-time home buyers. They might not think about, I may need to know what the schools are, or may need to know, I forgot, where do you shop? I drove this really crazy back way to get here, and where am I? So there are some really great, questions they can ask. Also, obviously, is it a one-stop shop? How easy is this going to be? Obviously there are mortgage options out there. There's title company options out there. We do offer some of that as well. So I think there's some really good questions that they can answer along those lines as well. How easy is this process going to be?
So one question that I've heard on more than one occasion from buyers that I've had in the past are, well, if I'm working with a home builder, I guess I have to deal with their sales team directly and not you. You know, since they already have someone on the sales front there, I won't be needing you. Talk about how realtor interaction may or may not contribute to the process. Do you think, would you advise a first-time buyer that was out looking around to have an agent help them navigate that process, or should they go about it alone?
We do welcome the extra experience. One of the questions we do ask is, are you represented by a realtor? And a lot of times they are, typically they are. If they're not, we do, help guide them, to some of the reasons why that might be an advantage. We definitely love our realtor community, so we truly respect our realtor community. And I think some of the great questions, if they're looking for a realtor, that they may ask is, obviously experience. You guys have both been on both sides of the fence, which is extremely helpful for us as well as for them. You've been on the resale side. You've also been, on the new home sale side. So experience, I think, is great because you guys offer a lot of good information that can help them make a good decision when they're purchasing a home.
And I think that, people will ask that question to us even as realtors. Well, do I need you if I'm buying a new home? Or maybe you start out with them looking at resales and they decide new is the way they want to go. I feel like, and you're right, we've worked both sides. We've both sold new homes and then transitioned into general real estate. But I feel like there's a good role there for us in the new home process. And then there's things that some realtors get involved in that they probably shouldn't. Really, I feel like it's our job to help people discover the area or the part of town that they want to be in, because a salesperson can't be an expert in the entire area, and we really sort of have to be.
In the whole Austin metro area.
Right. So we should help them narrow down an area, help them narrow down a community, right? And then once they get to the community and they meet the salesperson who's the expert in that community, I like to sort of turn them over to that person.
Right.
And I feel like I've done my job at that point. And then, we can sort of serve as a liaison depending on that client. Some are going to be out here every week regardless, and others may be out of town or maybe work, there may be reasons they can't come. And we can just be an extra set of eyes for them, and we can help communicate with the on-sites.
And just kind of, maybe even give them additional information as to why a builder's asking certain questions, or the process of how construction goes. Sometimes people think that, or home buyers think that, oh my gosh, it's just me, but you guys can also bring your, experience in the industry as well and say, no, these are definitely things that all the builders are facing. It's not just D.R. Horton, it's not just that community.
Sure. Help set realistic expectations.
Yes.
So, and I think really, to a certain extent, we all get involved in this conversation sometimes. John, I think as a lender, there's situations where sometimes borrowers will ask questions about the home building process. Does this feel normal? Does this feel right? Largely, they're getting pretty good guidance from experts on site and extensions of their team. But these are all areas where we as professionals facilitate, reinforce, and when called upon for specific help, can jump in and assist with that process.
You bet. And the home buying process has evolved in the last year because the conversations we were having, inventory was tighter. Had a lot of clients that decided, I'm going to buy some land and I'm going to build, or I'm going to buy a new build it's just slab right now. It's going to take 8 or 9 or 12 months to build. And so now there's a little more inventory and buyers have more choices. So we're seeing buyers still have that desire to buy some land and build their own custom home. Also got homes that are beautifully designed that they can walk into and say, that's exactly what I want, and make the process stress-free for me. Yes, I'll sign on the dotted line. And then of course there's that resale. There's resale options where there are more choices now, with a little more inventory.
There's another piece of this that we haven't talked about, but I hearken to it when we talk about our roles. And a lot of the time, the way we come about introducing a client to a new home builder is that we are engaged in helping that client sell an existing home.
That's right.
We haven't talked about move up, but that's something that we do for folks, where we help them sell an existing home and then introduce them to a new home builder and sort of help facilitate and help with the timing of that.
Yes, because it can get quite crazy.
Right.
Well, in the life cycle of products that you offer, some are for people that are buying their very first home.
Yes.
And that may be, this could be a first or a last home for different people, or
Yes.
it could be their move-up home. But then sometimes when you get into price bands that are above median price, the people that are purchasing are coming out of a home. And so an agent skillfully guiding them through that process, the nuances of timing. When do we list our home? Oh, shoot, my home's sold and my new home's not ready yet. Maybe helping negotiating a lease back so they don't have to move twice. There are elements there where we all may touch it.
Yeah, and that's why it's our job to be able to refer and help people with other things outside of the actual sale. That's what we're licensed to do.
That's right.
But we have to have relationships with so many different people so that we can help our clients navigate those waters, getting from A to B.
And I think one of the things that we do as realtors is really have a trusted team of professionals that can help within their individual area of expertise. We talked about what's important in the agent that you might want to choose. John, I'm curious, what are some of the questions that a consumer might want to ask their lender? What's important about the loan officer you choose or mortgage company that you choose?
So many factors. I think certainly the availability, the integrity, honesty, trustworthiness, knowledge, expertise, just what we bring to the table, whether you have 2 years or 20 years in the business. I think a lot of those factors are critical. And what we're seeing right now is consumers are getting so much of their information from various sources. And so to have a conversation for 20, 30 minutes or however long it takes to really dissect the process and talk about what value we can bring to the buyer throughout the process, education, talking about credit, understanding what's impacting their terms. Is there some low-hanging fruit with their credit report that they can fix before they close so that their score can go up and they can get a better interest rate, lower costs. And so I think those are conversations, just full transparency, so important.
You said conversation, and I think this is really important as we exist in a digital age. So much information is at our fingertips, right? Email evokes a response, but phone calls and face-to-face start conversations.
Absolutely.
And I think good lenders, in my experience, are ones that are willing to have conversations, that are willing to build and share knowledge so that consumers can make informed choices instead of just look at a couple of comparison snapshots, because you're really choosing more than just rate and terms. You're choosing an experience, right?
Right. I think we should also pull David into this piece, and maybe we should clarify to the folks out there. John is a preferred lender of ours. David has a title company that's a preferred title company of ours. And Demetria works at a builder that is a preferred partner of ours. And builders tend to have their own lenders and title companies, and they do a fantastic job for them. But then on the resale side, we tend to use other lenders and other title companies. So that's kind of the relationship here where it all applies, right?
That's correct.
We all work together And I think we're trying to educate the public on these topics.
That's right.
When we're on the resale side, we have chosen Texas National Title
That's right.
for a multitude of reasons. One of them is a relationship with David that's been long going and close. He's really personally been an advisor to you and I on all things business. But the other is also that, you know, his teams do a fantastic job, and they provide service that maybe other companies might not.
I think that's kind of the key. We were talking about the teams that you have, the teams that John has. Those are all things that takes time to build and takes experience to get people that have got that kind of training, kind of experience. But even on a new home sale, if there's a move-up sale, we're having to coordinate with the builder and the builder's title company and the builder's lender for us to be able to get things closed in an appropriate and a timely manner and in a trusted manner, so that there is not a hiccup and there's not a delay in the consumer being able to sell and then go close, sometimes same day, sometimes the very next morning, whatever. And you don't want, you want title companies that have, on both ends, that have got that kind of experience and know what they're doing. And you know, the way we get there is just over a long period of time, we realize that you've just got to do a lot of internal training, a lot of internal standards, a lot of getting it right, both on a regulatory basis and on a true customer service basis.
And infrastructure, right? That's something.
A lot of infrastructure behind this deal. A lot of education about, you know, all our closers actually understand the TREC contract. They've actually had a lot of training on it, so they know really what to watch for. You know, many times there's rarely used sections that sometimes don't necessarily always get filled out right that we can watch for and really help out. One of the big things, I just put a plug in here, is having a title company that's really educated about wire fraud. We do a lot to protect our buyers from being exposed to wire fraud. We have sometimes it's a 20-minute conversation with a buyer soon after the contract comes in. We don't want to wait too long, explaining to them the things that they need to be sure and watch out for, because it's largely out of our hands. Right. The criminals that are out there have many ways of intersecting the transaction and trying to create an environment that a buyer can fall victim to. So we help you through that, as do you, as do good lenders. All of us are working as a team, good builders, working as a team to be sure and educate everyone. That's one more thing that goes kind of an unsung hero that we spend time doing.
I'm glad you brought up wire fraud, and I really would like to talk a bit more about that, because I don't think that all of the community, the agent, builder, lender, obviously you and your people are, I feel like we stay pretty on top of that. I'm sure D.R. Horton and Benchmark Lending are all very in tune with this. But certainly consumers and others in our space maybe aren't as aware of this, but some of the efforts to extract bank information and maybe hijack wiring instructions are pretty sophisticated, including using an email address that looks almost identical to one of the parties in the transaction, either an agent or an escrow officer, and just changing, adding a number or two or something where it looks like you're actually getting correspondence from a party in the transaction. That's one of the things that we've seen commonly emerge in the last few years. But what are some of the things that consumers can do, sellers can do, in particular, to protect the proceeds?
To some degree, our title company industry feels like we're the last stopgap. You know,
That's right.
if everyone's done a great job before then, maybe that's done, the consumer's educated, but we're like the last stop. We've got to do that part. And the bottom line is this: you just never trust. You don't trust text, you don't trust email, you don't trust any of that when it comes to wiring instructions. You pick up the phone, you call a trusted number, a number that you know is correct. Right. You pulled it off either your realtor gave it to you personally, or you pulled it off the website, and you call that trusted number. You don't call a phone number from an email. You call that and you verify the wiring instructions. And I can't tell you how many times we've had that phone call, that exact phone call with a consumer, said, be sure and don't do that. Here's what you do. Here's what you don't do. And then we'll get someone who calls us and says, I was just about to go online and set up my wire, but it dawned on me, you told me not to trust an email set of instructions, but to call you. So I'm doing that. And sure enough, they were fraudulent wiring instructions that they'd received by email. We've had that happen hundreds of times. And
Yikes.
and we were able to intercept that fraud chain by us having a scary and candid conversation. And it gets you got to get through the noise. Everyone gets so much email, they get so many conversations. You got to get through all that. So we've trained our people to how to have that conversation. We've scripted it out. We've tested them. We've done role play with them so that all of our escrow folks that are making those calls are doing it in a way that cuts through that noise and gets their attention. And we know it works because we get these phone calls where they're going, I'm just about to punch I've literally had them say, I'm literally about to punch the button with my bank to send the wire, and I thought I'd better check with you because that's what you told me to do.
Fantastic.
And say, congratulations, you just saved yourself from losing, sometimes $100,000.
Your life savings.
Yeah.
We've seen down payments, funds that the buyer should bring can sometimes be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And when it goes overseas,
Oh yeah, it's
gone.
Yeah, there is sometimes you can intercept it if you move really quickly with your bank, but so much of the time, it's gone. It's overseas and it's not to be retrieved.
If there's ever a time to just slow down a half a second and double check, that's
one of the sad things that happens is we get on Amazon and we get that instant fulfillment of I can have it in 2 hours. Houses are not that way. Houses are an important financial engagement that you need to really slow down, and you need some professionals to help you through it, and you just need to do that.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Professionals, expertise in the builder community, the agent community, the lender community, the title space. Well, we really appreciate all your contributions today. Want to thank our sponsor, D.R. Horton, and the wonderful community out here at Carillon. Come visit them out here. Folks, we appreciate y'all tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you again next Sunday.